Afternoon, Graham.
Afternoon.
We start with the Reece James news, please. A bit of conflicting reports in one, he's not too bad. Two, he's going to miss the World Cup. Could you clarify the situation for us?
Well, he's due to see a specialist over the weekend. So until we get that information, there's not too much else I can add, unfortunately. The rest will just be speculation from my perspective. So we'll wait and see.
You can't have been too concerned at the time because he flew home on a budget airline.
I don't know. Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he did.
No. It was what, sorry?
He's on his flight.
Oh, was he? Okay.
And it got worse since he got back then.
I don't think so, but again, we need to just check. There's discomfort, so we just need to check and see a specialist. So it's the only thing I know.
And what's he saying? Because most players have a gauge of how bad they're feeling. They've had injuries before. What's he saying to you?
Well, he spoke yesterday. He felt not too bad, but again, until you get these things checked, you never know. So we need to make sure we get them checked with a specialist, and then we can find the way forward.
Huge blow, him, England, yourself. It is something serious.
Yeah, but we'll wait and see. There's no point looking into the doomsday scenario yet. We just need to check and make sure it's okay, and then go forward.
Okay. Next on my injury bulletin is Kante, and reports emerging from France last night that he could be set to miss the World Cup with his hamstring injury. Where's he with his injury and recovery and prospects of playing in Qatar?
Again, he's due to see a consultant the weekend. It's a setback. So it's not good news, but anything other than that, again, at this stage, I can't give you anything more, but he's seen somebody the weekend.
Okay, and Fofana update, just because there's been an injury bulletin.
No, he's just progressing where he was. I don't think we'll see him before the World Cup in terms of playing for Chelsea. Yeah, looks that way.
Okay, let's talk a bit about Chelsea then. You said when you came over, you were going to have a clean slate, give every player the opportunity. You've had a very good look at a lot of players now. Where are you in knowing what you think your strongest lineup will be and where maybe they need to do a bit more work?
Well, I think we've had quite a few games in a short space of time, so we've had to use the group, I think, as wisely as possible, which we've done. I've been really impressed with the guys. Their attitude has been fantastic. There's a few lads that still haven't had game time, but that's not necessarily because they've done anything wrong. It's just you can only field 11. So the main focus now is just trying to go game to game and keep progressing. I don't think we're at the maximum in terms of where the team's at. We're not at the limit, so there's more to come from the team, I think, and within that there's more to come from the individual. So always keep an open mind, and then we'll see.
Kepa's obviously played every minute under you. How's Edouard Mendy been? Because he's always been, since he arrived, the first choice. Have you seen him react to being the understudy, seemingly, rather than the starter in the last few weeks?
No, he's been great. Attitude fantastic, supporting the team. Obviously, he was injured when I arrived. Kepa's played and done well and contributed to positive results. And we have a situation now where we have two really good goalkeepers and there's competition, and that's what you need. You need that to push each other along.
Last one, go.
Video this week emerged from one of your players, Aubameyang, questioning big players and how Arteta maybe didn't manage the big players. A lot was made when you took over of the big egos and how you would.
I haven't got a big ego.
I don't know. That's something to say otherwise. That was one of the big things levied at you, that you never really managed big players and big egos. How have you found the first few weeks?
I've found it really good. As I've said many a time, the players are open, they're honest, they're responsible, they're ambitious, they're determined, they want to do well. So far so good from my perspective.
You haven't had to have those hard, big conversations then with them yet. Are you ready for that? And do you think it's just one of those things that you'll manage?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, they're still human beings, There's a media perception that you get to a certain level and they grow a second head or something and they become not like the rest of us. And it's easy to put out there, but the reality I've found it's not the case. I mean, at Brighton there wasn't massive amounts of big players, but Adam Lallana has won the Champions League, played for Liverpool for 7 years. Danny Welbeck's done okay in his career, and speak to those guys, managed to do all right with them, despite their second head, because they're big players and got massive egos.
You made it sound very simple, but we all know it's not always that simple, Graham.
Well, everyone, I think that you underestimate in the Premier League squads, 24 players that all want to play, that know the consequences if they do well. So when you don't pick them, they're disappointed. Their ego's damaged. They're hurt. They're disappointed. People are complex in lots of walks of life. I'm sure you're complex in your own way. You know, it's just.
Very complex.
Well, exactly. So it's not straightforward, this job, whatever the level. And so far we've managed it okay.
Right. Thank you, Bruce.
I'm very easy, don't worry. Good morning, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You've got a degree in dealing with emotional intelligence. So, in terms of that, will you be using what you've learnt throughout the years to maybe put an arm around these players who might miss the World Cup? I mean, for people like Reece James, Ngolo, Kante, Fofana, missing the World Cup was probably something they've been dreaming about since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and obviously I don't want to comment on the fact that they are or not, because as I said at the start, we're seeing a specialist and we're seeing consultants, and then we need to know what the situation is. But of course, if anything happens like that, then they're going to be disappointed. They're human beings. They want to go, but they also know it's a profession where things can happen, and they're competing at the highest level. You can't avoid these things sometimes, and then it's about dealing with the adversity, dealing with the frustration, dealing with the upset, and of course we help them with that.
I know you never had a chance to go to a World Cup, but were you ever in this position where you were a big game or a big match and you missed it through an injury?
Bless you. I can't think of anything from my career that compares with missing a World Cup. I think I'd be doing that a disservice, to be honest. I might have missed a Leyland Daft game or something.
Aston Villa on Sunday, Steven Gerrard is struggling compared to you. You come into Chelsea and you haven't lost a game, won 4 out of 5. You've seemingly put everything right in Europe. Steven Gerrard, it's not quite going for him at Aston Villa.
No, but I mean, I think the margins are very small, as we've said in the Premier League. I'm sure Steven will want to improve the results, and he'll be looking to this game to try to do that. That's their only. I think if they'd have beat Nottingham Forest to win above Liverpool, so that just shows you how quickly things can change. So we need to make sure that we're ready for that challenge. I think everybody knows that in the Premier League there's always somebody under pressure. At the moment it's Steven maybe, but he's got the quality, he's got the experience come through, I'm pretty sure. So we have to make sure we're good ourselves, and with the greatest respect, not worry so much about Aston Villa, concentrate on ourselves.
The last one from me, we all talk about noise in the Premier League, and you mentioned there's other managers always under pressure. Steven Gerrard last week seems to be Jurgen Klopp. You're quite happy there's no noise around you and around Chelsea right now?
At the moment, but I'm not naive. I know there'll be times where there is. So again, it's why I don't get too carried away when it's positive, and you don't get too carried away when it's not so positive. Just it's part of the job.
Cool. Okay, last question in the broadcast section. John Southall,
Okay.
Hi, John.
How have you found the last 5 weeks? Obviously, on a good run of form now. You've had a couple of massive Champions League games. Has life changed for you?
No, not so much. I think it's just obviously busier because the double games. Probably realise I can't go out as much in terms of just a bit more higher profile. My face, unfortunately, is too often in the television.
Is that getting out in Brighton and where you live?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's fine. I'm busy anyway, so I've got no life. I just come to the training ground and try and prepare football matches. But I don't like seeing myself on telly. I get sweaty palms, and I'd rather go to the dentist, to be honest. But it is what it is. But no, nothing really. Just busy with this job, and trying my best to help the team.
And you must be loving it, aren't you, at the moment? I mean, it can't be getting much better.
Well, exactly. And from the outside, the results are good. There's always things you can improve. There's always things that challenge you. That's the nature of the job. But I can't sit here and say, I'm complaining about anything. Certainly from the results we've had. I mean, really surreal start, really strange things happening in terms of death of the Queen and games called off, international break, first game in Champions League, you don't even know the players, just loads of things that you have to get your head around quickly. But as I said before, got to be really thankful to the players. They've been really receptive and really open and honest, and I think we're starting to build a nice relationship.
And from what you've seen of the players you've got here and the Premier League so far, A, can anybody stop Manchester City? And B, do you think you've got the group here to be able to push them, or whoever is going to win the league?
Well, I'm certainly not in a position to predict what's going to happen at the end of the season. I mean, we all know the strength of the team he's mentioned, and there's other teams as well. Our job is to go game to game and really try and focus. It sounds boring and dull, but that's the reality for us. We haven't played that many games in the league. There's so long to go. World Cup on the horizon, then it starts up again. So just go game to game and focus on the next match, which is Aston Villa.
And just a final one on Ngolo Kante. How worried are you about the injuries? Because he does seem to be picking up injury after injury.
Well, historically, there's things that have happened which are a concern. So we need to get to the bottom of that. It's a setback in the last stage of his rehab, so again that's worrying, but all we can do is get the right diagnosis, get the right consultation, and then try and help him get back to full fitness and enjoying his football.